Hi, my name is Brooke Lipman.
And I'm Dr. Deb Lipman.
And this is Wine Together,
a podcast where we drink some wine and have a chat.
So sit back, relax, and get that corkscrew ready. So, cheers.
Cheers. Look at the difference in color.
I know.
Because I'm still on my juice and no wine. So, but I did taste this wine, and I thank you for letting me have a little sip.
Good.
It's very good. Mm-hmm. It's very local. So
yeah.
I'm so excited that we have a local wine and we're trying it on this show. This vineyard is only about 20 kilometers away from us. I've actually hiked through these vineyards.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're right along the Beeler See, which is in Beale.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the big lakes. Is it one of the Tualacs? I think the Beeler See is one of the Tualacs. There's a hiking trail called the Tualacs.
Okay.
It's the three lakes.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I'm pretty sure it's Beale, Neuchâtel, and Lake Geneva.
Okay.
I think those are the three.
That makes sense because it's French.
Tualac, three lakes. And so I'm kind of excited about this. Like I said, only 20 kilometers from our flats. This is the Schaffheiser Beeler See Pinot Noir, which I love Pinot Noir. Mm-hmm. I say that about every wine. So I guess I love every wine that I try. It's a very intense deep red, which you saw when we had our wine glasses together. And it has a nice bouquet. I don't know if you smelled it before, a little waft. And did you taste any fruits?
It tasted like wine.
I know, I get that. It's not just grapes, though. Do you taste something else?
I don't know. Blueberry?
No, but it's raspberries and that Johannisberry that Ren loves.
That's it. Yeah.
Those little, it's the black version of those. But Ren loves the Johannisberry, so shout out to you, Ren. And it has about a 13% alcohol content.
Yeah, I can definitely taste that.
Yeah, and I didn't think it tasted alcoholic.
Really, I think it does.
I didn't, but it's been a while since I've had a full glass of wine, and I just had a sip, and I'm not gonna take another sip just to see. So I'm just gonna kind of leave it at that. But I thought I was so excited when I was looking at it. I was like, gosh, I've hiked through those vineyards, and I just love it. So yeah, and in the summer, if you do the hike through the vineyards, if you're at the right time, like we went on a Sunday, a lot of the vineyards will come out.
Oh, nice.
And they're on the hiking trail.
Okay.
And they'll sell you a little sip of their wine for like 10 francs.
10 for a sip?
It's basically in those little plastic shot glasses. Yes. It's not even your normal glass of wine. And they don't have glasses. They just have those little plastic cups out there.
So like 1 deciliter or like smaller?
Probably like a deciliter, yes. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's 2. It could be less than 1, but now I think it's about a 1 deciliter taste of the wine. It's about 10 francs. So they really do make a profit on these hikers that are desperate for a little sip of something to keep them going through. Because hiking through a vineyard is not easy. Yeah. Because, it's the slopes.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for the slopes because the grapevine wants lots of water, but it can't withstand all the water. So it likes lots of water, and then the water run off. Mm-hmm. So... I was excited to see that that's what that one was. Mm-hmm. So we also have, we also want to say for Pride Month.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have to say.
You have to say. Well, I thought so because I keep talking.
Yeah, I mean, it's Happy Pride Month.
Absolutely, and we're gonna say it all month long.
I know. I was like, I noticed. It took me a while to realize why you put that book up there, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I had the book. Good. All Boys Aren't Blue.
I got it for free.
Yeah, very good. And so yeah. I really, he's a very good storyteller. It's a memoir by George M. Johnson. He's a very good storyteller, and so. I definitely recommend it. And it is a banned book. So you know me.
Yeah.
Most of y'all, if you've been listening, you know I love banned books.
It's so good. Some of them are really, like, they banned The Diary of Anne Frank. Come on.
Yeah, because it was saying negative things about
Well, no, because there's a lot of, like, content in it.
Oh, okay. I just figured it's because, we're not... we're supposed to start, hooraying for the negative people, and we're not going to do that. Yeah. But, okay, well, good. I want to kind of jump right into... we're going to talk about etiquette, but I feel like that goes right along. It's kind of like just kind of the next subject about self-care. Mm-hmm. We're going to do your hair. I don't know if you're excited. I'm going to try.
Excited. We're gonna.
I used to color my own hair, so
Ren, if you're watching this, Mom's taking your job.
Sorry, Ren, but I used to color my own hair, and I feel confident that I can do it. I just do, and it gets you your color that you want sooner because you want it at the beginning of summer.
Yeah,
we've got our summer days coming up, yo. We don't. Well, last year we had about 7 summer degree days. And that was like the most, we can't usually stand that. Other summers, we've only had 1 or 2, really hot 30-degree plus days.
We have 3 this weekend.
We have 3 in a row. So we've got a heat wave coming. So we want to get your hair done like summer, before summer.
I know. Oh, I'm so excited.
So it's kind of crazy. Yeah. I don't know if this is an indication to what the summer is going to be like here. Keep in mind we don't have air conditioning.
I know. If it is, it means a lot of thunderstorms probably.
Yeah.
Which is awful. We had 4 days in a row with thunderstorms.
Mm-hmm. And always at night.
God.
Which is beautiful.
Because I have to leave my door open in the middle of the night because the way my room is shaped, air doesn't flow through even with the other door open. But if there's a thunderstorm outside, I don't want to leave my door open because I sleep on top. And I know, I just leave the top open, and I know there's, less than a 0.01% chance I'd get struck by lightning like that. But there's still that 0.01% chance, and I don't want to risk it.
I think it's highly unlikely. I don't blame you for not wanting to risk it. I think it's highly unlikely because of the way it is. But also the big thing is you just have that little bit of space, and so you really don't have a lot of breathing room.
No, there's not.
And there's certainly no room for air to circulate
and
cool you
down.
down.
Even if I have my fan on, it's awful. And it's the same thing with the big spider that was in my room. It's not gonna kill me, even if it bites me, but still,
it was so scary.
It's 11 o'clock at night, too. And it just appeared. It didn't crawl there. It appeared. Because when I got up on my bed 20 minutes before, it wasn't there. And then, all of a sudden, it was there.
Yes. And that, it wasn't
even in the corner.
I probably had just gotten into my first deep sleep. Mm-hmm. And it scared me so much. Because
it scared me
too! Hearing you, screaming and talking about it, and then I go see it. It was just like 2 double whammy scares. It was like I didn't need 2 scares, and it was just... That was scary. But I agree. Your room is not. It's not great for summer. It's wonderful for winter.
Yeah, no, it's great in the winter.
You can heat it with the sun.
Yeah.
No worries
but
at all.
I know that's why I need an air mattress for my floor for the summer. Because even 1 glass of wine in the summer heat going up on my bed, I feel awful in the morning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but.
Yeah,
I do know. Oh, well, you know what? I may have the camping mattress.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably fine. As long as it's something that blows up that I can blow up at night and then roll up during the day.
Let me see what I may have a camping mattress here, because I don't know if you remember when your Cove did the camp stuff.
Yeah.
And I may have gotten almost everything.
Speaking
in
of,
that
you have
bag.
another trophy thing available.
Oh, do I? Yay! Yeah. I've got more points. That's exciting.
Wait, what are we getting next then? Are we gonna get the glasses? No, there was
there's a platter that I'm interested in getting, and some big bowls. I want the big bowls for serving bowls.
I was like, we already have the chip platter.
Yes, we have the chip platter. And so, yeah. But there's a big platter that, I think it'll make a good roasty platter. I don't know, it's kind of heavy, though. It's heavier than our little roasty plate that Dad uses. So.
Yeah. Plus, the roasty plate that we have already matches everything.
I know. Isn't that wonderful? That's why you always choose white, I do like white.
Yeah. Well, I've had to use the little plate like yesterday for the air fryer because it just has the little circle in the bottom of it. That's the perfect size for putting the oil on it to put on the air fryer.
Oh, you did use the platter?
Yeah. Okay. No. One of the little plates from the old plate set. You know, the tiny ones that have the little circle?
I see. Yeah, okay, and you put that back away?
Well, I put it in the dishwasher, and then,
Now that we had those desserts, though, the cheesecake things, I used that today, and it was the perfect size.
Okay.
Yep, yeah. But I used, and we're talking about the air fryer right now. Oh, God, we love
also got for free from Cove.
We love our air fryer with points. But I did a mix of the rapeseed oil, whatever, the Swiss oil, and the olive oil.
Okay.
Maybe that's why our chicken, it wasn't the sunflower oil. Do you think that's what it was?
I don't know. There was something. I just thought it was because the chicken had been in the freezer for so long.
It might have been. It was a little dry.
Yeah, it had been in the freezer for 2 months because the date on it was April. Beginning of April.
I know, but it's okay. It did not. I don't think it made us sick. So.
Well, no.
And we would know by now. It's been over 30 minutes, so we would know by now if we were sick. But anyway, we're going to talk about etiquette. Okay. And there's so much that goes into that, right? I mean, you're supposed to be taught certain etiquettes. Yeah. And I know my upbringing was very different than yours. You know why I know? Because I did not put you guys through what I was put through as far as etiquette goes. I think that I tried, and you all fought back. You all wanted to know why. Why do we have to do it that way? Well, just because someone says it, unless there's, really, are we in trouble for not behaving and don't put your elbows on the table, don't, when y'all were younger, I did insist on you not slurp your soup. And I think y'all have done better about this. Y'all do better than some people with this soup. But you still don't use your spoon the correct way on soup. So I bet, that's, again, however you get the soup in your mouth.
How is there a wrong way to use a soup spoon? Like, you're eating this.
But you're not supposed to eat it. You're supposed to scoop it, sip it, scoop it, sip it.
But then you have to slurp it.
Nope, you don't have to slurp it. I promise.
Is that not the same thing?
No. But anyway, I'm just saying, okay, there's that type of etiquette. And, but what are some things that you kind of remember that I might have kind of insisted on as far as etiquette goes when you were younger?
I don't know.
That you carry out today, still do?
I don't know.
Did you just not pay attention when you were little?
Pretty much.
Okay. Well, I think that we all kind of came to a consensus in the family that, they say don't put your elbows on the table, but sometimes we just have to.
Yeah, okay, I'm short, so if I want to eat, I have to lean over when the table when I'm eating, because otherwise it's awkward. And so to do that, I have to brace myself with my elbows. But I remember in elementary school us having to listen to a song, and it had "Don't put your elbows on the table, because you'll soak up all your soup." I don't even know what that song. That's all I remember of that song.
Okay. Well, I think that I'm still I think sometimes when I'm finished with my food, I will lean in and put my elbows on the table when I'm having a conversation with somebody. Yeah. I think I'm mostly, though, so conditioned to not, I put my napkin in my lap. I think that's something y'all don't do.
I can't
even though I taught
that.
you to do
I
that.
I can't do it. You know why? Because every time my napkin, like my legs on most seats, again, because I'm short, slope down.
Mm-hmm.
And so the napkin just falls off of my legs. And so, like, that kind of it ruins the napkin because now the napkin's dirty on the floor and I can't use it. Right? So it's easier because I sit over
my
to
floors
eat.
aren't quite that dirty.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, like at a restaurant, you know how dirty the floor of a restaurant is?
Yeah.
But I already eat over my plate so that it won't drop on anything.
Yeah.
So why, I don't need the napkin on my lap.
Okay. And so, so napkin on the lap, I guess I'm the only one that does that.
Yeah.
And
I also just don't like how it feels on my legs.
I just will not do that. I will always have my napkin on my lap. Sorry. And so I can remember sometimes really formal dinners when there were guests. Mm-hmm. You know, we would have all the silverware. Okay. And you never used the big fork.
What's the point of having it if you couldn't use it?
And that's what there. You know, you just always chose to use the salad fork for the whole meal. I think Justin did that as a young person too, mm-hmm. And when he was really young, mm-hmm. He just his thing was it's not that. I mean, I'm the only one using it. Mm-hmm. Kind of, I guess was kind of the thought, but mm-hmm. You know that. And so when I'm thinking of etiquette, I just think of those kinds of things. You know, be kind to people. You know, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I know there's more to it. And like one thing I was blogging about yesterday mm-hmm. was I was so upset mm-hmm. because, you know, plans were made and then the plans were changed without anybody telling me. Okay. And so I was upset. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know, that's just not, it's rude. Mm-hmm. And to me, rudeness is not good etiquette. And I think that's kind of what made me think of this topic and mm-hmm. us talking about it was because I thought, oh my gosh, just don't be rude. So I think also is good etiquette is don't be rude. But then you have to, just because I think something's rude someone else may not think it's rude. Okay. Do you see that imbalance? Yeah. So what I want to ask you is, people tell us to stand up for ourselves, mm-hmm. Advocate for yourself. Yeah. But then when you do, you may be seen as rude. Mm-hmm. So where's the balance? How do we fix that?
I don't know.
Do you know that is a thing?
I think you should always stand up for yourself. And, you know, if people want to think you're rude, then that's their problem and not your problem. Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%.
There is a difference, though, between, like, yelling at someone and genuinely, like, it being rude, like, if you're in the wrong about something, and standing up for yourself because you know, like, what the other person did is wrong.
I think when somebody really points out and shows me where I'm wrong, I will apologize. Mm-hmm. I think that I tend to, I used to, I don't think I'm as bad as I used to be. I used to apologize for no reason, mm-hmm. just to kind of keep the peace. Mm-hmm. I don't do that quite as much anymore, but I still tend to be the one to kind of break the ice first. Mm-hmm. When you know a relationship has kind of gone off the tracks a little bit. Yeah. And I get tired of being the one to break the ice first. Okay. I think that you know and you know I think that could come across as rude as me saying that. So what are all the lines of etiquette? What are they? I mean, obviously, I think of table manners. What else?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's different for, like, depending on where you're from.
And your religion.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, like, really dependent on, your culture and all that.
Yeah, and that is so funny because I read an excerpt from a book, and I'll let me write this book down too. It's about different cultures and how in business it kind of, especially with the global society that we have now with the internet and air travel being I say somewhat easy. Some people might not consider it easy, but air travel actually is pretty easy right now. And there's a book about culture that I've read some excerpts from because, especially living in a different country than what I grew up in, your dad thought it would be a good idea for me to read this and kind of learn, about the different cultures. And one thing that I learned, especially when it comes to this topic of etiquette, there are some cultures, these are not my words, this is from the book, but especially Asian cultures, some Asian cultures, not all of them, but I think they were actually really focused on Japan. And they kind of teach their kids to read the room and read between the lines. So you don't have to say what you're thinking. You can give the stern look and the children know it's time to, listen to the adults. And so they grow up understanding that in a big board meeting, if everybody's not on board, but they're just trying to be kind and not be rude, they can tell when they don't have, the vote of everybody. Just by reading the room and reading between the lines. And that's certainly not, something, especially since education has gone, like from when I was in school, we were definitely kind of taught that the teacher has the last say, and whatever the teacher says goes. Whether we agreed with them or not, they had the last word, and there was no, you don't talk back to a teacher. And we were taught kind of to, as far as critically think about, what we read. And so we had to write papers, and, our paper was never just turned in for one grade. It would be turned in, you'd get some critical feedback, you'd go back and redo and get more critical feedback. And there were like 2 or 3 iterations of every paper I ever wrote. This was high school. And so, but now, and this has been going on for, I would say, a generation or two in the United States, they teach to test. They don't teach critical thinking skills. They don't teach, right now, hopefully we're fixing this to teach to look for, I know there was this push to teach about confident sources. But still a lot of parents push back on that. A lot of students push back on that because if it's not a reliable source and the teacher says it's not a reliable source, but yet the parent and the kid thinks it's a reliable source, well, they think the customer is always right. And it's just not, if it's not a reliable source, it's not a reliable source. And if it's not a primary source, and so I don't know that a lot of that is, and I'm only speaking for one school district in all of the United States. I'm sorry, I'm not lumping all of the United States into this. I'm only speaking of one school district that I know. And there were so many parents complaining to administration.
Sorry, I was trying not to yawn.
Okay. That the teacher really did not have a lot of autonomy. In the grading. Which was a shame. And so I just think that we definitely need to be teaching critical thinking skills and kind of thinking about different cultures because not everyone, yes, most people probably in that country are likely going to stay close to home.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they do go away to college, they may come back home and live there. And so a lot of what they learned at home is just going to stick with them. So that kind of what I always call environmental genetics,
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And it to me, it really was the travel and meeting people of different cultures that opened my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It was never, and I think about this often, if I had never left,
mm-hmm.
who would I be? I certainly wouldn't have the children that I have. And that is enough for me to say I did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because my kids are just the best thing in the world to me. And I know maybe they're not as good as somebody else's kids, but they're probably better than some.
Mm-hmm.
And but they're the best to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, I'm glad that I've had the life that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
And do I have regrets? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I have regrets. But I can't do anything about it. And so I just kind of move on the next day, and just try to do better the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, you want to try to, you don't necessarily need a balance of good and bad. And so I think that there needs to be more good days than bad days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need to have a balance. Always have more good than bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, etiquette for you, Brooke?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it really does depend. Like, when I studied abroad, I took a class called Global Communication Skills, and it was a lot about, like, how different... I mean, it was mostly, like, a business class, which was actually pretty cool, because I'd never taken a business class before. But it was really interesting because we talked a lot about like different cultures, and my professor, he'd lived like everywhere. He had lived in Germany, he lived in France, he lived in Japan for a while. Obviously, like he was from England, and apparently I just opened my calendar on my watch. But yeah, he was from England, and like we talked a lot about like the difference between how people do business like in the United States versus like in Japan, and like the different cultures and all that, and like what you should expect and what you should not expect from each other.
Well, on the topic of etiquette, so you think that we're supposed to have different expectations just because it's a different... This person's from a different area?
That's how people are. Like, you would... So, like, if you were doing business in Japan, like, if you were a Japanese person doing business in Japan, in a meeting, you would expect that the decision has already been made, but in the U.S., that meeting is there to make that decision. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. So, like, it is a difference in, like... how people see the world and like how they're taught to act in certain situations, which is etiquette.
Okay, that's really interesting to me that that culture in Japan, the decision's been made. This is just a show, basically. The meeting is just for us to all get together and say...
To like, kind of like talk about it, but like everyone knows that the decision has already been made.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how well I'd be at a meeting like that.
Yeah.
I guess I'd really have to know the expectations ahead of time. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that I definitely see why some people cannot appreciate different cultures. Mm-hmm. Because they really think their way is the right way. Mm-hmm. And so I think that could turn into some, I guess, hurt feelings is one way to look at it. I guess it could also be that somebody might not want to do business with certain kinds of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I think of certain tourists, the etiquette, the poor, what I consider very poor etiquette, it just makes me completely crazy, and I don't want to go out during tourist season, which unfortunately is about 6 months out of the year here. So like yesterday, someone had this huge duffel bag, and when he put it over his shoulder, instead of it going up and down,
it went side to side.
He went side to side, way past both his shoulders. And he pushed in front of me to get on the train in front of me, hit me with his duffel bag. And there's something heavy in that duffel bag. I don't know what it was, but it hurt.
Yeah.
By the time I got on the train, I was in tears.
Yeah.
And so I sat down, and then he sat down right in front of me.
Oh.
And I cried the entire time we were on the train together because I thought, here you've hurt me.
Yeah.
Almost knocked me down. And people saw it. I mean, this one man said, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I am not okay."
Yeah.
And so I was angry and I was hurt and I thought that was just so rude. Yeah. And that's definitely not good etiquette. No. I mean, pay attention to everything you have.
Pay attention to your surroundings.
Because your bag, this is something that scares me so much when we're hiking or if we all have a backpack
Especially
on.
being getting on a train, that is so dangerous, like, to someone.
Because you have to step up.
Yes. Because what if you slipped and, got caught in between the train? That is my biggest fear, right? And, okay, so in London, they talk about mind the gap when you're getting on the tube. Especially at Piccadilly Circus. If you wear heels, don't wear heels getting on and off the tube at Piccadilly Circus because there's a gap about this big.
Dear Lord.
Bigger than me. The gap is bigger than me. I could easily fall into that gap and get, sucked under a train.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. It depends on, not in the, middle of the train, but if you're towards the end of the train, towards the end of the station, that gap is huge. Do not wear heels if you're going to get onto that part of the train there.
Good advice.
It's scary. But yeah, if someone were to hit you, you could, fall into, a part and get stuck, and that's really dangerous.
Yeah. I think another thing that certain tourists, and look, this is not all tourists. It's just been my experience with certain tourists. They think I'm on my special vacation and don't walk in front of me when I'm trying to take a picture. Really? You didn't reserve this place? No. You didn't pay rent? No. So guess what? I'm walking where I'm walking. And don't fuss at me because I ruined your shot. I don't care. You know, if you really want photos of a certain thing, then you need to figure out how to get at that space when there's no one else there. Yeah. Or you need to get over yourself. Yeah. And because I just don't.
When people go to Paris and complain about people being in their photos of, the Eiffel Tower or of, the Mona Lisa. One, don't take pictures of the Mona Lisa. You're looking at it in a museum. Don't take pictures of it. You can see it with your eyes. And if you need a picture of it, go on the internet because there is one. Right?
Not only that, but look, I know your dad's going to really get me for this. But those gift shops, you can buy a postcard. That's not that expensive. Yeah. If you want to buy a replica of it, you can. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. There are certain things that you just don't take photos of.
And we went to the chocolate museum that one time. I didn't expect the big ladle thing, whatever. I didn't expect that there weren't going to be, and we bought a photo of it without people in it. Right? Because I'm not going to be
because they had a nice little box of chocolate because I'm not going to buy just the card. Yeah. But there was a box of chocolate that had that postcard on it. And I was like, look at that. And, but and it's so funny because there are times that I will wait for a crowd to move on to take a photo. Yeah. Because I have the time. Yeah. But if I don't have the time, I take it. And if I want it. Yeah.
I mean, also, if they're, directly in front of it and you're not actually getting a photo of the whole thing, if you want to wait for some, that's fine. But, but also, if you go to the Eiffel Tower, you can't expect to take a picture and there not be people. It's one of the most visited destinations.
That's where you need to buy the postcard.
Also, it's just don't take the Eiffel, you can, again, find pictures, whatever. Yeah. We'll be oh, yeah, I was on vacation. Yeah, but, sometimes you don't need to take photos.
Yeah. And you know what? Your dad will tell me that a lot of times. Don't worry about the picture. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Yeah. There are times, on the train, you can't get a good photo from the train. No. I still try. But, you can't. I know I can't. And so I don't complain about it.
Yeah.
But, like, sometimes, like yesterday, you said, where are you? Or no, it was Sunday. Where are you? And I took a photo because we were right by the lake. And,
well, no, actually, that was not what I asked. And what you said did not answer my question at all.
I guess I just thought where you were asking.
I think I asked, where did you guys decide to go to? You took a photo.
I took a picture of the lake.
Except it did not tell me where you were at. It was just a photo.
The train was passing by the Tuner's right? And so we were headed to Interlaken.
Okay. No. This is what I said. How long do you think you'll be out?
But didn't you ask about where we were first?
Nope. Okay,
where you guys going today? Interlaken, then Tune.
And then you didn't.
But that way, no. To my defense, I tried sending this, it just didn't send through before you got that. So they were like going, they were,
then you did not answer my question.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Again.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't know. No.
You do that all the time, by the way.
I never know how long I'm going to be on.
Twice in 2 days that the fish was good with the sweet mustard, and you only answered me the second time.
Because honestly, I didn't think I needed to answer the first time. I'm glad you liked the fish. Is that what you want me to say?
I don't know. It was the first time I tried that fish.
So was it rude that I didn't?
I mean, no.
Was it not good etiquette?
This all the time. So
I think sometimes on text messages, I don't know text etiquette.
Yeah.
I don't know text etiquette, and I think sometimes
this
maybe
is how many times that we've texted in the last 2 days. It took me forever to look for finding that one.
But that's just us. That's how we are.
That's not even as bad as when we weren't living in
I know, when we weren't in the same country. Gosh, no, I know. We could have text messages today. Plus several different, I know, we got to go.
Get the sticker
was that at kiosk or Epic?
I assume. I have no clue.
Maybe so.
It's just blue. It doesn't.
That might be kiosk then. Okay. Because I opened my kiosk app the other day and I thought, I need to start getting my points again. Because I'm like only 5 bottles away from getting a free bottle of water.
Okay.
So, and I'm not sure. When Amelia was here, she was going to kiosk and taking my phone and getting the stamps for the coffee. Because you can get so many cups of coffee, then you get a free cup of coffee.
Yeah, but I make coffee and get free cups of coffee every day, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's so funny because there's a certain family member that expects you to always answer a text, even if you feel like the conversation's over. Mm-hmm. And so one thing is I kind of know that person likes to get the last word. So sometimes that's how I end the conversation is I don't answer any more texts. Mm-hmm. And because they've gotten the last word. But I honestly, when I feel like the conversation's over, I don't continue. Mm-hmm. To me, I thought that was good etiquette, but evidently it's not all the time. Evidently I don't always do the right thing.
Well, you also don't know how to text because there will be many times you'll insist you sent a text message and you did not.
I guarantee I sent it. I might not send it to the right person. But if I said I sent it, I sent it.
No, there have been times where you've typed it out and never sent it.
Oh, well, that's true. Sometimes I wonder why it does that because I know it. I know I at least made the gesture towards the send arrow, right? But so I just assumed that it went. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't go. And that's, and yeah, sometimes I might be going through a tunnel on a train and think that it sent and it didn't. But I don't know. There's lots of reasons why things don't. It's definitely not intentional. Yeah. I promise. It's not intentional, but I don't know. I think that what I said in my blog yesterday was I don't care if somebody changes their mind. So I don't care if our etiquette is not the same, if we weren't taught the same thing. I don't care about that. But if there tends to be some friction, then talk it out. Be honest and figure out why something didn't come across to both parties the same way. I think that, as adults, we have communication skills and we need to use them. I am I just, nothing angers me more than for an adult to act like a child, especially when it comes to communication. And that's usually what it's about, is communication.
Yep.
So I think that, and I've said it so many times, you need to use your words.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds rude and childish, but, adults need to use the words.
Yep.
And don't, just figure it out. And you still have to make the decision and say to a student, we need to check the cost of flights.
Yeah.
We need to check, because I've tried doing it on the mobile app, and because, and this is so weird, because I am here, and the payment method that I would be using is in the U.S., it just didn't like that difference.
Okay.
And so it said, you're going to have to go on the computer, basically, and you're going to have to go online to look. You can't book through the app with these differences. So I did try to look today.
Well, we also need to go ahead and look and see if we can get World Cup tickets for, like, a game, and maybe in, like, New York, so we can then go take the train to Boston. Because we have to go to the Cheers bar.
I definitely want to go to the Cheers bar.
Yeah. And it has to be on a Saturday night, because we have to be somewhere at 9 o'clock on a Saturday, and we can sing Piano Man at the bar.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah, remember I told you that story.
I thought you told me that. So, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, that may not all happen this year,
Well, it would be next year. World Cup is next year.
Oh, okay. Thank God. Because I'm barely gonna be
that's
able
why
to get through this
look
summer.
Now.
Yeah, we need to look now.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. Okay, I'm gonna get political. Sorry. Before we,
I'm really
get
surprised
even more
it's still.
political.
I know they can't change it now to a different place. I'm really surprised they're still doing it in the US.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that people are gonna let their players go into such hostile territory.
Yeah. Honestly, even with the Club World Cup being in the U.S., like right now with what's just happened in California, I'm really surprised teams haven't said at the last minute, like, we're not doing this.
Go Swiss. They won in Salt Lake City the other night. Switzerland's men's national team won in Salt Lake City the other night against Mexico. So
these are the clubs that are going to the U.S. this summer. The Club World Cup.
Oh, okay. So this is different than...
Yes, and there are some Saudi clubs that are actually... But he likes
I started saying, he likes them.
They're going to be fine.
In fact, they could just, throw more money at him and he'll be even happier.
Yeah, and he'll make sure they win. But, I mean, like, it's really surprising that some people just want to... Like, I mean, I'd honestly be surprised if they get enough people there that it's gonna be like, it starts next week.
The
Club World Cup starts next week.
And how long is it supposed to last?
A month. Because, if the women are doing something, they have to add more for the men's teams.
Right. Right. Because, that's their excuse. The reason they don't want to pay women is they say women don't, bring in as much of a crowd, which is just not true anymore.
Not true, yeah.
That's just, then make sure that their stadiums are the same. We'll see the same amount of people. Because there is a draw to watch the women.
I mean, if you saw it, actually, the English women's team had more people at the stadium in Spain than the English men's team. Mostly because Andorra is a tiny freaking country. Yeah. And so they were, like, in a stadium in Spain that holds probably almost as many people as there are in Andorra. So, like, there were only, like, 700 Andorra fans, and there were less England fans there. Yeah. But there were a lot more for the women's team, which had played at the stadium a couple days earlier, so...
Okay. Well, I think that, it's exciting that, there's that the World Cup is going to, kind of be in North America. Because, that's, when I was living there, this is kind of one thing I wanted to see happen. Yeah. Because, I knew your dad would probably want to try to get to a game. Yeah.
And especially there's games in North Carolina, too, which is really interesting. Like, that would be fun.
And so,
but, I want to go so bad.
I know. Well, I know the things that we want to do. Yeah, just cost money and stuff like that. And I know we all get tired of hearing that.
I know. Well, if we can get the podcast big enough, we could do Football Friday at the World Cup.
Wouldn't that be great?
Crazy.
Absolutely, that would be awesome. Yeah. And then we could hit a few vineyards in North Carolina. There's some decent ones. One not too far from where I grew up. So not far off. So I'd love to. And I actually drank one of his wines when I was in North Carolina. Intentionally, because I was in North Carolina and I thought, okay, well, I've got to get one of the children's wines, which I did. And so, it was kind of exciting. Yeah. So, anyway, we're going to wrap this up. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation.
We'll be back next week with a new bottle of wine and a new topic. In the meantime, if you want to join the conversation, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Wine Together Pod. Join our Facebook group, Wine Together Podcast, and if you don't want to miss out on our regular weekly episodes along with all our bonus content, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as liking, subscribing, and commenting to our YouTube, Wine Together Podcast.
We're not finished. We're so sorry. One more shout out. Happy Pride Month.
We already said that at the beginning.
Well, I know, but I just want to make sure we end with that.
Okay.
I want to make sure we end with it.